Who's your best friend?
Tiger Woods. Tiger doesn't know it yet, but we are best friends. But we just haven't been able to connect that way yet. But we'll get there.
Okay, that's fine. You just need to meet cute. That's what you need.
Right. Once he sees me and I see him, it's like love at first sight. This is the Drop Podcast, where we talk golfing in the Garden State. I'm Mike Poro, and this is Ryan Coulott, and this episode is presented by the Law Office of Mallon and Tranger.
Ho, ho, ho. What's up, everyone? This is our post-Christmas episode. Hope everyone had a great holiday, celebrating Hanukkah. Christmas season is kind of in that gray area of post-Christmas, but you don't really want to take stuff down pre-New Year's yet. Hope everyone was well behaved, got everything they wanted for Christmas. We are going to kind of be a little shorter this episode. What we want to do is we want to go through our 2022 recap, kind of talk a little bit about 2023, and then we're going to send you to an interview we did with Jack Wall, which, if you don't know who Jack Wall is, you got to get on the Jack Wall bandwagon. Jack is a collegiate golfer at Texas Tech. He's one of the top collegiate golfers in the country. He has such a bright future in golf, and his star is only going to keep shining brighter. So definitely something you want to listen to and get into. He does an awesome job. Just a good college dude. It was funny seeing him in his dorm room, just chatting it up with us. But really fortunate that we had Jack on to chat with. So definitely worth sticking around for.
And right, too, before we get started, I do want to congratulate the winner of our first ever giveaway. Monday night, it ended at 11:59, so Tuesday, I got the wheel out, put all 75 entries. We had 75 people that were in that wheel, which, listen, I give the audience a lot of credit. We appreciate it. So everybody's name went in there, and I double and triple checked it, make sure everything was accurate. We spun the wheel, and congrats goes out to Christian Cranston. He was the winner. I actually have dropped it off to him, gave it to him, and he was stoked. And it was funny because the more I spoke to Christian, I found out that he's actually a caddy at Metedeconk. And it was fitting that it actually went to somebody who works there. He's a school teacher in Toms River. So listen, congrats goes out to him. And again, a huge, huge thank you to Country Club Editions for donating that piece of artwork, because clearly without them, we wouldn't have been able to do that. So I just wanted to toss that in there real quick so everybody knew. Again, it's on the Instagram page. You could check it out, the wheel. We spun it once and went with it. That was it, the finale.
Country Club Editions was absolutely that was great. They did such good work. All their other stuff, guys, if you have not gone to their website or checked out their stuff, they do such awesome work. This piece of artwork was amazing. Congratulations to Christian Cranston for winning that. That's wholesome to me. I like that he, I have no idea who that guy is. He's some Joe Schmo in our tags and all that kind of stuff. Good for him for winning it. I like that it went to someone who works there. That's going to be more meaningful to him. That's really cool. Good for him. As Mike said, we posted the winner on our Instagram story in the wheel. You can find us on Instagram and on Twitter, both the same handle, @thedrop_pod. You can see all of our content on YouTube at The Drop Podcast. And you can listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, Google Pods, also The Drop Podcast. Like, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. Listen and follow along. All right, Mike. Like I said, I want to do just some recaps. I think that's where I want to start, right? You want to go recaps first? You want to preview 2020?
Works for me. No, let's recap before we look ahead.
All right. So I got a couple questions. What was your favorite course you played in 2022?
Good question.
Right, I had to pull up my gin.
Man, we were fortunate. We were fortunate to play a lot of good tracks, not only together, but even before we started this adventure. And as I pull up my gin, I'm just quickly scrolling through it. And I think where we've been able to play more so lately is stood out, but I guess my number one spot,
Like, to your point for that, I hate having a recency bias. Like, you just said we've had some great experiences, but I don't want to have that recency bias.
Right. So I guess if you're asking me like overall experience, and I think about where I've played, I think qualifying for the New Jersey State Open and getting the opportunity to play 2 rounds at the Ridge at Backbrook have to be my number one, because not only was the golf course spectacular, but I think qualifying and playing in an event like that where every shot matters, like you're talking the best of the best in the state, and just seeing those guys on that stage in that arena, like, I'm just a little guy that just wants to bunt the ball around and have fun and compete a little bit, and to be able to dabble with those guys, like, on a course like that was amazing. And I guess I'd have to put that number one, mainly because I never set foot on that place before. I never even knew where it was. I've heard of it, but never experienced it. So I would say that had to be definitely my number one spot in terms of like where I played this year. But I mean, there's a close other ones. Hominy Hill was right behind it when you and I played there.
Right. That's the. I kind of want to hold off. I'm gonna jump into Hominy Hill, I guess. Mike, before I get to Hominy Hill, the Ridge, I totally get. That course is spectacular, and like you said, that's an experience. Like, you qualified for something. I'd argue you don't bunt the ball around like you claim you do, but that is, to qualify for a state tournament like that with the group of people who are competing is something not to be scoffed at. And that's a great experience that you were able to have.
I appreciate that.
I think that falls under the experience of 2022 category, which I also would say you could be the same, but I wanted to ask you your best golf experience, your best golf course you played, and then your, like, something you're thankful for. And I'm going to kind of jump now to, you mentioned Hominy Hill, and that's something that I'm thankful for. This podcast has been awesome. I really have enjoyed chatting it up with you. I know some people, I don't know if anyone knows this, Mike and I aren't like long time friends. We've known each other for 15, 16, 17 years. Mike and I played in the same conference for high school sports, so I vaguely remember his name. I remember him having some great games and being on the front page of the paper. And Mike was a senior, I was a sophomore, and then we got into teaching and coaching, and again, just known each other for a while, but we're not best friends that are just, we're two guys that are super passionate about this, and this podcast and being able to play that round of golf with you at Hominy Hill and getting this off from that round has been something that I really, truly, Mike, from the bottom of my heart, I know sometimes we go at it and via text, but I do really appreciate this. This has been awesome for me personally. I think for us, this has been amazing, and I hope that the people like it, and I really do. I would say that would be a round that I am thankful for.
Yeah, listen, if you don't approach me with this idea, this podcast isn't 12 episodes in, 900 followers in on Instagram, over 400 subscribers in on YouTube. Like, that doesn't exist if you don't approach me with that idea. And like I said to you that day, like, let me sit on it, because I don't know if it's something that can really, have any legs in it. And clearly it does. And there's no doubt, if you ask me, like, what round I'm more thankful for, there's no doubt, like, being here, being able to talk shop with you, it's been fun. And like anything, it's never all roses. It's never a perfect, everything's a straight uphill, climb. But we ride the roller coaster just like anybody do. We're two different people, have different ideas at times. But the end result is that we find a common ground, and that's very important because that's how things operate. It's not always going to be your way or my way, but there's no doubt when you look back at it, like that round has got us to the point where we are today, and it's fun to see where this thing ends up.
No doubt there. No doubt there. And I do think that we see each other, we make a good team, I think. I think from both of that. We got a good yin and yang thing going on, and for sure I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, you're calm, and I'm the fucking maniac.
That's well put.
All right, Raj. So obviously you heard not only my experience, my favorite course as well, because I think those got tied hand in hand. And clearly we both agree on in terms of where we're thankful for. But if I were to flip the question and ask you, give me your favorite course and your favorite experience from the 2022 season, where are you going?
I'm going to two places, honestly. And I know this is going to seem recency bias, but I loved our experience at Little Mill with meeting Troy, and I thought that was just that was an incredible day with a guy who's a stud golfer and plays super competitive, high level competition. To be able to see the things that he's able to do with the golf ball and the experience of seeing a course that's just as Troy said, it's a golfer's golf club. They don't do a lot of there's not a lot of frills outside of it's not a super fancy dining room or anything like that. That's something for me. That's that experience, and again, the experience with you, with Troy, that was really a lot of fun. And then I'd add this: anytime you can play 27 holes as opposed to 18, I think that's also good as well. So for me, that was probably the best golf experience I had this year in New Jersey. The other one that I would also put, and the only reason I put Little Mill ahead of it, I went up to Rutgers this year, and I played up at the Rutgers golf course. I don't know if you've ever done that, Mike.
I have not. Never been up there.
It's, from what I understand, and I totally could be way off base with this, but from what I understand, the seniors in the golf course management program at Rutgers divide up the course by holes, and each of them take 2, 3, 4 holes or whatever it is, and it's their holes to be the superintendent on, and that's their senior thesis, quote unquote.
I like that.
Can I tell you, I hope that that's true. I really do, and even if it's not true, I'm going to believe it anyway, because I love that concept so much. And to be fair, when I went up there, you can tell that the first, second, and third hole were really kept pretty immaculately. The bunkers were cut nicely. There wasn't sand coming in and out of the bunker. There wasn't it was mowed properly. There were certain things it was. The first 3 holes really were done nice, and not to say that others weren't, but I can also take a stretch of 3 holes that looked ooh, this needs some work, or this is overgrown, and I hope that that's nice. The course was nice. If you live in New Jersey, go play Rutgers. Go play the Rutgers University course. As a New Jersey golfer, you got to play it once. But for me, it's not something I am clamoring to go back to again. I'll go back and play with you. I know you haven't been there. But it's not something where everybody should be dying to get there. It's a must for New Jersey golf, but it's not something that I would say is super special. And it's not like you went and played Baltusrol or anything like that. It's a nice golf course. I like to me, and again, I hope that's true. I like that sentiment of seeing the seniors do their work, and I feel like you can kind of see that in different parts of it. But I thought that was a nice experience for me too. To your point, the next question, I got to play 18 holes at Hollywood this year, and that was the nicest course that I played this year. I've played Hollywood a few other times, but I've never played all 18. And getting to play all 18, it was it is beautiful. I mean, the front nine is great, but the back nine's even better. The character comes out in the back. There's more bunkers. There's more. I don't know. I don't know how else to explain it. The back is the front is great. I don't want to make it seem like it's a dog track and then wonderful. It's front nine's beautiful. I know you know that. The back nine's better. It just is. And a couple years ago they did a restoration. I think they put 207 bunkers in. I think that's what they did. They hosted the Senior Women's U.S. Open, I want to say back in like 17 or 16, something like that. And right before that, they did a huge restoration of like bunkers and stuff. And then even since then, they redid, last time we talked about it, the 17th hole, putting that like berm in with the tunnel through it. Like that kind of stuff I love. That was the best course I played this year. And I don't think that's close.
Yeah, I don't think I've gotten 18 out at Hollywood since probably 2019. Might have been the last time that I got 18 out there. But obviously, I know the front nine extremely well. The back nine would take me some time just to think about in terms of the holes. But I can vividly tell you the front, and there's no doubt that's a great golf course.
Right, and for like you said, for someone who knows the front so well, trust me when I say the back has more character. Like it's there's more stuff going on. The front is beautiful, but it's a little like the first hole, everything's right in front of you. Second hole, everything's right in front of you. Third hole, everything, you can see everything. The fourth hole is that par 3 we talked about. 5, you got a little dog leg left, which brings in something. 6, everything's in front of you. 7, everything's in front of you. 8, everything's in front of you. 9, everything's in front of you. And then 10, it's in front of you, but again, you start bringing in more character. Character is the only thing I can say to describe it. That's really it.
Chasing Aces was launched with the idea that everybody is welcome on the golf course. They believe in building a community through their shared love of the game. Golf comes with pressure and expectations, and that includes what you wear. Chasing Aces has hats, performance polos, and t-shirts that keep you looking sharp from the clubhouse to the tee box. So take the pressure off. We're all here to have a good time. Walking the fairway and chasing aces means you see every hole as a golden opportunity. Visit ChasingAcesGolf.com and find them on Instagram at ChasingAcesGolf. Even the best are chasing aces.
So Mike, now after our recap here, where do you want to play? What is your, how do we want to break this down? What is your...
Give me a public and a private. In 2023, if you're, so I'll start it. Mm-hmm. So right, the forecast 2023. Obviously 2022 has been a huge success, and specifically for us, the last 3 months have been nothing but a home run. But if we were to forecast what the future holds, and you got an opportunity to play one private and one public golf course in the state of New Jersey in the calendar year of 2023, where are you going?
So I think that's a little bit of a loaded question, only because, obviously...
You can only give me 1 and 1. 1 and 1.
Well,
no more.
I'm
not giving you A, I'm not giving you B, not giving you C and D and E. You get 1 and 1.
I think, again, it being loaded, because obviously I'd love to go play Pine Valley or Baltusrol, Liberty, Bayonne, Plainfield. But for me, those aren't realistic. Those aren't something that I don't know someone who's a member and they just haven't invited me yet. That's not something that I can just that's plausible or close. If it happens, don't get me wrong, would absolutely love it. But it's not like I know somebody who's there and it's an easy get. You know what I mean? So I'm going to give you my private one first. My private is Manasquan. I want to get on Manasquan. And I have...
Oh, here we go. No bias or anything. I'm biased, but...
I think I have a little bit of a connection to get on there. I think maybe you might be able to make a call. The interview we did with Chris was, like I said, he was super generous to invite us out. So obviously that's an invitation that I'd like to take up. But I've never really experienced Manasquan River as a country club. I've been there. I've played the Riverside holes, not all of them, but I've played 6 or 7 of them, probably collectively, in kind of the thing that I've been to 2 or 3 times. It's just, it's different experience when you go in and you drop your bag and you check in, and there's going to be, a caddy, or they're going to load you up on a cart, and you're going to be with people. You get a different experience when you see something that way, as opposed to a short fundraising kind of, you're not going to play everything. So for me, that's one that's kind of been like teased at me, and I know I've sent you that text over the years, and again with Chris, with you, that's definitely one.
Never got those texts.
Yeah, that's what he claims. That's one that I definitely would like to. I'd like to get an experience there. You know what I mean? Like, see the whole shebang. Go into the pro shop, which I've never been in. You talked about it being 3 floors. Like, I've never been inside anywhere like that. That's for me. That's something I would like to see. As far as the public, you're hamstringing me with one, because there's 2 that I want to get to. Now, there's more privates I want to get to.
I knew that's what we were going to get with you. You're going to give me the 1A, the B, the C, and before you know we're at Z, and we're 3 hours into this podcast. I'm giving you 1. You get 1. Don't even give me a 1A. I want 1.
So,
and it better be public.
It's public. I've heard wonderful things about Neshannock. And I'm hesitant to say that because I've played 18 there, but it's 27, and I'd like to see the all 27 there. I'd like to see the whole, like, all that they have to offer. I also, at the time that I went, the pro shop, do you know how many polos they had in the pro shop when I went there?
37.
0. There wasn't.
Wow.
It looked like the Grinch had just been through there. I'm telling you, it was like a barren wasteland, and it was just at the time of, like, I don't want to say it was during COVID, but it was like, maybe it was post-COVID, but not really, like the whole shipping thing was off, and it was just like the only thing they had some golf balls, and by some, I mean, like, they didn't even, like, if you wanted to get, like, they were rationing, if you wanted a sleeve of Pro Vs, they'd only give you a sleeve. They wouldn't give you, like, a box of Pro Vs. Like, they were rationing everything. So I kind of would like to see that place kind of in all its glory, and I feel like we're kind of at a place now where that can happen this coming year in 2023. But there's definitely some others. I know there's one that you and I have talked about. But Neshannock is one that I definitely want to go see this year.
And just to piggyback you off Neshannock, for the audience, this year in New Jersey, the New Jersey State Golf Association is having their Public Links Championship. So if you qualify at one of their events, at one of their qualifiers, the championship itself is going to be this year at Neshannock Valley.
See, and right there, they have to have more than one polo in the pro shop then. So for me, those are my 2. I'd like to. Those are my 2 that are realistic. You know what I mean? Like, I would really like to see all 27 at Neshannock, and I'd like to get that experience at Manasquan for sure. Those are going to be my 2, and maybe that's not shooting high enough because there are others for me, but those are ones that I think are the most attainable for me this year. What? Talk
yeah.
to
Well. Yeah, so if you're asking me the same question, I'm a dreamer.
Yeah, tell me.
I'm a dreamer. So to me, I'm going to the moon. If I look at both those questions as like, wow, it's a great question. But for me on the public side, like, I know you and I, like you said, brought this up. Skyway's my probably my number 1. And I know it's only 9 holes, and people are gonna be like, well, I thought you always want to play 18, and I understand that.
2 balls are played twice.
Yeah, I have never heard a bad thing about Skyway. The views alone, I've heard, are spectacular. The course always seems to be in great shape. I think for some reason, I just got this weird feeling that, like, I just want to go experience that place. I want to carry my own bag for 9 holes and take a million pictures and play a great golf course. And if that means I play it twice, so I got 18 holes in, then so be it. But to me, I think that's got to be my number one public golf course, that it's accessible. And then I'd love to rate it afterwards using our scale. Like, I think that's a great, great little spot for us to make a day of and go up there and play. So to me, on the public side, it's Skyway.
Mike, you and I know, we've both talked about this. I'm 100% in on Skyway. That was when you were saying 1, I was like, ooh, but that's like, I got 1A and 1B. That's 1A or 1B, and Neshannock is 1A and 1B for me. So
I'll be honest with you, the people at Skyway have been super kind to us. They've DM'd us and said, you're more than welcome to come up to the golf course, check it out, play it, review, rate it. And I told them, I said, come the springtime, my buddy and I will definitely be taking you up on that, because it's something that we both want to experience. So they've been kind enough in that respect. And I guess on the private side, again, I'm a dreamer. I have a hard time not thinking like, wow, let me get on there. And I've always said, like, Bayonne is a spot that I would die to get on. Like, I understand it's expensive as a guest. And I listen, to me, that's a spot that I would dig deep into the bank to go be someone's guest, to go experience it. Like you, I don't have any connections to Bayonne. I know nobody that's there. I know people that have been fortunate to play there, and I don't know anybody that comes back saying a negative thing. I don't know anybody that comes back that doesn't have phenomenal pictures or phenomenal things to say about that place. So to me, like, a bucket list, dreamer, number one, like, God, if I could find a way to get on there, like, Bayonne would be my number one. So I'll shoot for the stars and say that, and knock on wood, if there's a person in the audience that's listening that wants to be kind enough to take Ryan and I up there, by all means, we will drop what we're doing. We will come meet you there, and we will pay our own way.
For sure. Just get us in the door. That would be amazing.
Yeah, so that would be my one and one in terms of public and private for 2023.
Mike, I think we got a pretty good list there of places that we want to play in 2023. Hopefully we could be playing them together. Hopefully we can even maybe expand that list a little bit. But as Mike said, if you guys have a place that is awesome and want us to come there, or it doesn't even need to be awesome, you could just want us to bring us there, slide into the DMs. DMs are open for us. Just let us know. Mike, the last kind of thing, everybody does New Year's resolutions or goals or whatever you want to call it. What's your New Year's goal? Like, what's something you want to attain in 2023? Whether, again, like, do you want to play better? You want to break 70? You want to have a scoring average of something? What is something there for 2023 that you want?
It's a good question. I think for me, when I look at, like, on the competitive side of playing golf, since COVID, I've dabbled more. I like it more. It kind of fuels my competitive side. And I think, 2 years ago, being able to qualify for the New Jersey State Public Links, then this past year qualifying for the New Jersey State Open, like, I think the more that I play with a purpose, I would love to qualify again for one of their championships, the New Jersey State Golf Associations. I mean, it doesn't matter to me really what it is. I always say, like, just get in one of them. So to me, like, I'll qualify for all of them, or I'll try to qualify for all of them just like I did this year, whether it's the 4-ball, whether it's a state am, whether it's a state open, whether it's the public links. Like, I'm all about trying to go play on the biggest stage with those guys, because there is that competitive nature that still burns inside that wants to see, like, let me see what I'm like under pressure, under the gun. Can you make that 3-footer when it matters? Because, listen, we all knock those putts away when we play with our buddies, but now you got to make it because it counts as your score, because it's ball and hole. Like, it's a different animal. So I think, to me, like, again, one of the goals I guess I would look at for 2023 is to qualify for one of them, because to me, I look at them as like the majors. I know you got the Masters and the PGA and the US and the British Opens. Like, I get that for those guys. But for someone like me, like, I look at them like the majors. So when I see big time names like Nick Bova and Ryan Hager and Chris Dimmick and all these different guys at these events, I'm like, wow, okay, I'm on the big stage with the big boys. Like, those are the things that I think would try to fuel my fire a little bit.
Yeah, again, that's at a stage that I'm certainly not at, and I definitely understand like the competitive juices. I think as if you've ever grown up an athlete or even played high level, it's probably more than just high school sports, because I know some people that play high school sports, but they that competitive drive wasn't there. If you're playing high level or getting to the collegiate level, you definitely have those competitive juices going, and that's something that, like, I don't think that goes away, Mike, I would say for me that like tangible goal, I think, and I'm worried it's not attainable for this year, only because it's been super recent that I want to be ball and hole. But my low handicap for this year was a 10-3, and I ended the season at an 11-7. And I really want to get back to single digits. It's only been one time in my golfing life. I got to a 9.8 once. And I know that rounds up to a 10, but that's still a single digit handicap for me. And I think that's a goal of mine that I want to attain. And I've put some things together that I think I got to make more putts. I bought a putting aid, that Dave Peltz putting tool. That's where I want to get back to, and I want to give this a good go at getting into the single digits. I don't think that means like I'm going to be a 5 handicap, but I'd like to get under 10 at some point in 2023. And honestly, if I were to go even further, I'd like to be a single digit handicap for, like, I'd like to say that I was a single digit handicap for 2023. Not I shot a bunch of good rounds and then I started working my way back, or I had enough to get me to, like, I got to a 9-9 and then the next round it went up to a 10-1. You know what I mean? Like, I'd like to get to that point. That's kind of where I'd like to get to.
You'll get there. Good things happen when you think good things.
Yeah, good things happen to good people.
There you go.
So, guys, that's kind of our ending. That's kind of our wrap up for 2022, our 2023 year in review with New Year's coming ahead of time. Everyone be safe. Enjoy. It is a fun time of year. Certainly enjoy yourselves. Give someone you love a hug. Say thank you to somebody. Enjoy this time of year as we're ending 2022 and flipping the calendar to 2023. We're going to send you now to an interview that we did with Jack Wall. As I said at the beginning of the pod, his interview is just great. I believe Jack is a top 150 golfer in the world right now. He plays collegiately at Texas Tech, so he's one of the top collegiate golfers in the country. A must listen. He does a great job. It's wonderful to chat with him. So we're going to send you to that interview right now. Happy New Year, everyone.
Tom Mallon and Randy Tranger are board-certified trial attorneys who share more than 40 years of legal experience. They specialize in personal injury matters, workers' compensation cases, and criminal and municipal defense. As certified trial attorneys, they have recovered millions of dollars on behalf of people injured in accidents and employees injured at work. They have offices conveniently located in Freehold and Point Pleasant. For skilled and personalized legal representation, call Mallon and Tranger at 732-780-0230 or check out their website at tmallonlaw.com. Not only are they good people, they're good golfers too.
Hey everyone. Before we send you to Jack's interview, we just wanted to let you know that we recorded with Jack just before Thanksgiving, but due to scheduling conflicts and other unforeseen challenges, it took us a little while to put it out. So we're getting it out now. Hope you enjoy it.
What's up, Jack? How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for jumping on.
Jack, what's going on?
Not too much. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. I appreciate you coming on.
For sure.
Absolutely. I got more than enough time.
Whoa. Hold on. College kid on a Saturday night. You can't possibly have time.
Not. I scheduled it for tonight. Tonight was
Oh, okay.
perfect for it. Did some budgeting in there, time management.
There you go. That a boy.
Every once in a while, I get it right.
He's mature, you know. He's not a freshman at CBA anymore, bro. All right, so we'd like to introduce our next guest here. A lot of people in New Jersey may be very familiar with this guest. Not only a phenomenal high school golfer, but a phenomenal amateur and collegiate golfer as well. Our guest tonight is Jack Wall. Before we get going here, I'm going to go through a little bit of a bio of Jack and some of the unbelievable accomplishments that he's been able to more or less achieve. So Jack played high school golf at Christian Brothers Academy in Lincroft, New Jersey. He's only the second New Jersey golfer to win the career slam in high school golf, which means he won not only the Monmouth County tournament, the Shore Conference tournament, the state sectional, but he was also the overall tournament champion. He also was, while in high school, was the runner-up in the 2018 Med Open as an amateur. He qualified for the 2016 USGA Junior Championships, and when he graduated high school, he was the top-ranked player out of the state of New Jersey. So just as a high school golfer, you can see that Jack's trajectory was a very good one. When Jack left CBA, he headed to the University of South Carolina, where he was there for 3 years. And I probably could ramble on about just his statistics alone, but I'm going to go through just strictly his scoring average as a 3-year golfer at the University of South Carolina. So as a freshman, he had an impressive scoring average and obviously 5 tournaments because of the shortened season with COVID. He averages 71.9. That's as a freshman, right? We can't even do that sometimes for 9 holes. So
No, for sure.
sophomore year.
Mike, real quick. Jack, was that those 5 tournaments, were they the fall? And then you guys paused and then couldn't get started again because of COVID?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the fall.
Yeah. So then as a sophomore, Jack ended up playing in 9 of his team's 10 events, posting a 73.4 average. Not only in his sophomore year did he post that average, but he did have a collegiate victory winning the 2020 Orlando International Amateur. His junior year, probably the best season of his 3 years at the University of South Carolina, where he averages 70.4. And then obviously from what I read, that his season ended early at the SEC championships because of a wrist injury. Jack then transferred to Texas Tech University, where I did see this fall, they just won the Big 12 match play title, which just happened recently. And from what I read, I did see Jack started things off getting a huge 4-3 victory in that championship match. So, Jack, I want to thank you for coming on. I know, like Ryan said at the top, a college kid giving us some time on a Saturday night at 7:00 is not something I thought we'd be able to get you to do, but we're fortunate and definitely appreciative of that. So I do appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So, obviously we have a little history in terms of, some of the places that you've been and knowing your family and Manasquan River and whatnot. So I guess more or less tell us a little bit of your journey as a kid who grew up on the golf course at Manasquan River, then taking it to CBA, where you had an unbelievable high school golf career, to South Carolina and then to Texas Tech, and kind of, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so was very fortunate, growing up on the 11th tee at Manasquan River, and would go out 3:00. That was when juniors were allowed to go out or whatever, and so every day at 3:00 would head out and play as many holes as I could. And then having 3 older brothers, we go out and be competitive as brothers are, maybe too much so at certain points. I mean, don't want to highlight any of those, but it got rowdy every once in a while. So yeah, so was doing that for my whole entire life pretty much. That's how it started, and then went to CBA and played golf there. So much fun, miss it every day because I mean, high school golf is, I mean, just it's competitive, but you also it's just fun to do every single day with your teammates, and I mean, it was a blast. And then yeah, so I went through high school, loved every second of it, went to South Carolina and had some pretty good scores there, some good results, and then now I'm at Texas Tech. So long journey, but love it where I am now. So
I guess the question is obviously as a kid growing up on Manasquan River. I was kind of in a similar boat to that respect. I wasn't as fortunate to live on the 11th tee, and then just go bounce and play. But like you as a competitive high school kid, opportunities were presented that place would allow you to do that. And tell us a little bit about how much like that place means to you, um, and really just like some of the memories that you have really as a kid growing up on that golf course.
yeah, it was. I mean, Manasquan has played a huge role in my entire career as a golfer, and the support behind the membership's incredible. They're always asking how I'm doing, and catching up with a lot of members when I come home from school is a lot of fun, and it's been nothing but great support, which I'm so thankful for. And then Manasquan as a golf course is unbelievable. I mean, it tests every club in your bag. You got to have a good short game. Greens can get pretty crazy, and yeah, I mean, and you get the two aspects of the hills and then the riverside, the flat link style, and yeah, you got to have every part of your game on point to play well. So very thankful, and it helped a lot.
I'm sure that like being tested like that from a certain young age, and if I'm not mistaken, you're the youngest of your brothers, right?
Yeah, I'm the youngest of four.
So having older brothers and trying to keep up with them, plus playing a super difficult course is gonna hone the skills in for sure. Jack, I want to go back to something you said just a second ago. I want to talk about these on-course fights that you and your brothers would have. Let's. I demand details right now.
We're gonna kick right off with that. All right, perfect.
If
Now
they're
there's
anything like me and my brothers, not on a golf course, but on a in the driveway basketball, got super competitive between me and my two younger brothers. So
I mean, I can't remember anything specific, but I know the gist of everything, and it was, I mean, just crazy because whoever won would always throw it in everybody else's face, and the bragging rights were definitely, used, and we didn't. Whoever lost, we didn't like it, and I remember some getting home and having dinner, and we're just arguing, and my parents are sitting there. They made dinner and everything, and we're just complaining that we lost or somebody had got a lucky bounce on the fourth hole. That was the difference between everything, and I mean, it was crazy, and I miss it being at school now. I wish that I could go back home and have a little more of that, but it was definitely in the moment. It was crazy.
do you get to play much with your brothers these days, or like when you come back? And is that still does that still
Yeah,
happen?
we try to make it work, with their work schedules. They work so much, and I only have when I come home like this, well, I'll come home for Thanksgiving, I'll have a week, and most of my time is in the winter, so who knows if they want to even, after a long work week, they're like, I'm not playing in 40-degree weather, not today. So but we try to get. I actually had my brother Ethan call me yesterday. He's like, "Hey, let's try to set something up for the Sunday you get back." I'm like, "Yep, I'm in. Let's do it." So
And
maybe
that's good.
there'll be a little.
You're a good
Go ahead.
sport to be in Texas weather most of the year, and then come up to New Jersey Thanksgiving and want to still get out.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's Texas and New Jersey weather's a little different.
But
Yeah.
so Jack, I think going back to like the brotherly rivalry, the little like, and knowing, your family and your dad's a phenomenal golfer, your uncle's a phenomenal golfer. So I think that like family competitiveness
is something that, carries a lot of weight. And I know sometimes it may not always, show in terms of a score, but like being a competitor and, when you put yourself like in that arena, there's no doubt that those type of family rivalries prepare you for high school, prepare you for, the college level, especially on the level you're at, because, some of us and some people may, like playing Division 3, but like Division 2, you're on a big stage. Like you're in a primetime conference and now you're in the second one. Like tell us a little bit about what you think those rivalries and how they've helped you. I mean, I can only imagine like dad not giving you the 3-footer that your buddy's normally knocking it away for you. Now you're sitting over there, you're like, Dad, am I really putting this 3-footer? Like, kind of, do you know who I am? Like, I think that has to help in terms of when you compete, does it not?
Yeah, I think just getting the reps of, being competitive helps a lot. I mean, it seems like when I was growing up, every day we were competitive. So, I mean, just getting those reps of, being competitive every day, every week, I mean, it only helps because, I mean, especially playing match play with my brother Jerry. I mean, I've never seen anybody like him with his golf game. He can't hit it. He can't get it off the tee. And he would say that too, but he has probably the best short game I have ever seen. So when you're playing match play with him and you're both super competitive and he's hitting it in the trees and, getting it around the green, you're like, all right, I just need to make par. He's not in the hole. And then all of a sudden he hits an unbelievable chip to like 3 feet. And you're like, you got to be kidding me. So it definitely helps a lot because honestly, a lot of college golfers are similar. It's just everybody's short games are incredible, and you always have to count on them hitting a really good shot and making a clutch putt and that. So being competitive with Jerry especially, trained me well for any type of situation I'm in, high school and college.
And I guess like, so explain to some people that listen that may have think that like, hey, listen, I'm a really good high school player and there's no doubt I should be recruited to the next level and I should be a college golfer, X, Y, or Z, whatever reason. Like explain to the audience like the difference when you went from like being a phenomenal golfer at CBA to now, you're really just a number. You're not the guy anymore. Like now you're just a number where everybody's just like you. So, what was that transition like going from like CBA to, University of South Carolina and now to Texas Tech?
Yeah, it is a huge change, kind of being the guy around CBA and in the state to being just like you said, another number. I mean, I got hit really hard with that at South Carolina, and you put more pressure on yourself to deliver and post good numbers. And the level of talent you see when you step on the tee box as a freshman in a big college event it's daunting. And I remember my first ever college event, I played with Luke Schneiderjans, who is Ollie Schneiderjans' brother, and I don't know if Ollie ever won on the PGA Tour, but Luke was, I think, seventh in the country at that time. So I'm like first tee shot playing with one of the best golfers in the country. Like I could not stop my hands from shaking. I'm like, how am I supposed to make contact? So that was really eye-opening. And then, the transition from just normal high school life to college life is crazy. And you got to be, very good at time management, all that stuff. And it's definitely a learning process. You definitely have to really, be conscious of what you're doing and how you're spending your hours during the day and, all of that. So it was definitely tough.
So, Jack, the decision to go to South Carolina, I know that's like obviously you had a great couple years there. What was the catalyst for the transfer to Texas Tech?
It was mostly just like competitiveness and a better schedule because the PGA Tour University rankings, which came out a couple years ago, have kind of changed everything, and kids are transferring now that if that PGA Tour U wasn't a thing, they might not have, because ultimately, if you're playing a really good schedule, you have a lot more opportunity to move up the list or stay high up on the list, if you are. So that was a big part of it, that I needed a better schedule to compete and hopefully boost my ranking a little more.
Okay.
did the wrist injury play a role in it at all?
Um, a little bit, not too much. I kind of had an idea that I needed something, and a little better. And Texas Tech is obviously, I think we have to have one of the top 5 schedules in the country this year, at least, if not top 3.
Right.
But
So like going to the Big 12, like I know, you know, Chris Goddard is a buddy of yours. You played high school golf against him and with him and the different tournaments and whatnot. And seeing a kid like him go from Rutgers to the Big 12 in Oklahoma, and then you kind of found it, that have any impact, or did you talk to Chris at all about a decision like that? Like I obviously, he's moved on to the PGA Tour and actually playing really well this week at the Corn Ferry Tour. Like does a guy like that, do you lean on him for a piece of advice or things like that, or maybe just see what he has done? Like, wow, that's working. I know Chris is competitive. I've played with him before, like things like that. That's what you would say. Obviously not me, but like you in that respect.
yeah, he was huge, in the whole process. I talked to him just about kind of what the process was, because until you do it, you really don't know, how it is. With getting in the transfer portal, which is crazy, honestly. So just kind of talking with him about how he did it and kind of the reasons that he went to Oklahoma, and all of that kind of helped me out and everything. And he was always there if I needed to talk to him, which was great. And Oklahoma was definitely a school that I was like, wow, they have obviously their coach is phenomenal, one of the best in the country. And seeing what he did, I was like, I mean, who wouldn't want to go to Oklahoma
Yeah.
at that point? So he was huge in that aspect. And, Oklahoma didn't work out, but it definitely helped me get to where I am now, which I'm extremely thankful for, and extremely thankful for, that friendship with Chris and him, taking his time to speak with me, which really helped.
I mean, it's a great friendship to have, just in general.
For
And
sure. It's like two. I mean, how many high school golf teams can say they have a college golfer, let alone two that are, because you were a
no, it's
sophomore when Chris is a senior?
Yeah, we got 2 years together. He
So,
graduated after my sophomore year.
so that's like both playing in the Big 12. I mean, I can't imagine there's many high schools in the country that have that.
Yeah, not too many. Yeah, we were very fortunate to have the teams we did. And it was, the best part about it was that we all had fun doing it with each other. Like we had a blast playing high school matches. I mean, I played with Brendan Hansen every single day for it seemed like 4 years. So it was like, I mean, unbelievable friendship there, and playing every day with him is hilarious because he's honestly one of the funniest guys I've ever met. And like I was saying, high school golf is just, can't beat it.
what do you think, like, as a team? I know you're obviously speaking so highly of like a high school team, and I think the memories that you have in high school play a big role in that. Like when you think about like a team aspect in golf, like when you go from CBA to like South Carolina to Texas Tech, is that team camaraderie, chemistry still present, or is that something as you guys have gotten older, like you kind of get, focused on a one-way street, like you see what you're trying to get accomplished and the team stuff doesn't matter as much, or is that still prevalent when you guys get to your places?
College, definitely, there's a huge team aspect to it. I mean, you're with these guys every single day for pretty much the whole year. Like you have a month where, everybody goes home, and then you're right back to it and practice playing every single day. So you have to be close with the guys you're on the team with. And especially this year has been a ton of fun with all my teammates. We all get along so well. We're competing in not just golf. We actually our little team clubhouse we have at our facility. We got ping pong in there. So I mean, you go over there and there's somebody playing ping pong. There's always a chipping game going on. So I mean, it's just so much fun spending the time with these guys, and it's a blast. So the team aspect is definitely there, and you gotta have a good team culture, and we have that here at Texas Tech, and we're just having fun. And at that point, that's what really all that matters. If you're having fun, the results will come.
Yeah, for sure. Chris, how much did, or sorry, Jack, how much did that? I was thinking, Chris, because I love that you guys all, um, like not just great golfers, but like hanging out with each other and like being good friends. Like I enjoy, like as a coach, I enjoy seeing that my guys are not only good guys and they get together on the court, on the field, on the on the course, but they enjoy each other's company. But I was going to ask, how much did that play into your decision to transfer to Texas Tech as opposed to all these big name schools? They all have a clubhouse, they all got a course. Like I'm sure once you get to a top notch facility, I was fortunate enough to see the one at Clemson, and like how not every great golfer in the country doesn't go to Clemson with that facility, I don't know. So like when they're all kind of the same, did that play the most? Like how well you got along with the guys in your visit, or is there anything else that kind of like yes that did, but it was more this? Like what's the like where did that stand in your decision?
Actually, I mean, I didn't know anybody on the team before the first day at school in August. So I didn't really know what to expect. And, I was late to the transfer portal in June or whatever it was. And I got very fortunate to have this opportunity. And it kind of fell into my lap a little bit, which was awesome. But I didn't know many of the guys. And actually, a lot of our team is international. So that was another thing, like, oh, how am I going to fit in with these international kids from Europe, Sweden, Norway, um, so I was a little concerned about that, but I mean, I fit in so well with these guys. Like we all like the same type of music, which I was like, was not expecting at all. We all love ping pong. So that gets heated. But yeah, so I think I got very lucky that, everything gelled so well together this fall.
That's awesome. It just validates your decision to that you're in the right place that you're supposed to be. That's great.
Right.
Now, obviously, this is your senior year there. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but you still have one more year after this if you want it to, or because did you redshirt or COVID? Is that what happened? Did you get the fifth year or you graduate?
Yeah, so I have the option for a fifth year. I have that extra year eligibility that everybody got back from COVID.
COVID. Okay. I
Which
thought I
is
saw that. I thought I saw that.
yeah.
Do you see that I mean, obviously, looking down the road in a sense, like, do you see yourself staying for 2 more years? Well, I guess now 1 more year after this at Texas Tech?
Yeah, I can see it for sure. I mean, I'm having so much fun here and you know, the coaches and teammates I have. I mean, it's so much fun. Why would I not want to come back?
Mhm.
I still have to make that decision. I think I have to make it by April. So there's still some time just in case, if I go out and win a few events and my ranking's good enough where I can turn pro or something, then that definitely affects everything. But I mean, I would love to come back here for another year and, have fun with these guys again. It would be a blast.
Is that the ultimate goal to go pro?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what I've been playing for 21 years for. So that's the end goal and hope it pans out. Put it that way. I don't know what I would do if I didn't.
Uh, obviously for us, when we started this podcast, the idea was build it around golfing in the Garden State. And we thought that, New Jersey has so much good golf. Okay. It really does. Not only does it have phenomenal golf courses in all different types from the north to the south to the east to the west. It's like you want to play any certain type, you can go find it, not only in a relatively short period of time, but in our own state, you're not going outside of it. And then on top of it, the amount of good players that are here is another thing that we felt like, man, you see it within the SGA, NJ, SGA, you see it in the Gap, you see it in the Met, like you see it going around, but like nobody really talks about it or talks to people like yourself or other head professionals or superintendents that do such a good job. So like, for us, when you think about, the Garden State and you think about obviously someone like you who's probably played so many different spots, is there a favorite that you think about that now bias takes out Manasquan River, but
Right.
what other spots do you think, maybe from a public side, that like the average guy like Ryan and I could go play, to if you're fortunate to be invited to go play, that you drop everything and you just go. And I will say this, Pine Valley, I saw that was your favorite course, but I think the idea that invitation to someone like us, that is not happening. So give me another track.
And I think that's everybody's fit. Like that's everybody's course.
Yeah. So take out that like 1% of the Pine Valley that we may ever get invited on there, because clearly I'm dropping everything that day going. I don't care what I'm doing. But give me a public and a private that you say like, man, you got to go try. Do you have any?
That's a loaded question. I mean, I could
know.
sit here and think about that for hours.
It's always the question we put people on the spot with, and they're like, dude, you couldn't just warn me about that one? You couldn't give me like, let me think about it? But
how is that? I don't understand how that happens. Like, we're talking golf in New Jersey. You got to think that's like, it's amazing we don't even lead off with that question.
And I guess my thought behind it really is like, if I let you think about it, then it's like, all right, he's going to come up with like 7 or spots. But like by putting it on the spot, to me, it becomes a more authentic answer. Like, what sticks out? Like, bam, like, oh yeah, dude, that's it. That like,
I would say the first private, Baltusrol is top of my list. Both courses.
That's 3 for 3. How many times have we talked to people that have said Baltusrol?
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
That place is incredible, and it's so much fun to play. I'm a huge fan of the upper. I know they just renovated the lower. I don't know if it was a year or 2 years ago, but I heard that's really good.
That's the difference. Everybody has told us, if you got to start time and you can drop everything, like Baltusrol, but the lower, everybody says, is the one you got to play.
Right.
Lower it's really fun. It's fun to play. It's so hard because it's just like long par 4 after long par 4, and I think the upper is a lot more fun because you get so many different holes. You get drivable par 4s, and you get the mountain plays a huge part of it, and you're playing like 4-footers 3 feet out, just trying to like die it to the front edge, and it's terrifying. You're over there and you're like, I'm just trying to 2-putt this. I'm trying to lag this one down there. So I'd say definitely Baltusrol for private. Public, I think that I have 3 that came to my head. Blue Heron Pines. I know you played there recently, didn't you?
Yeah, I did about 2 weeks ago, and I was floored with how nice it was.
That place is very sneaky, and it's very good. And I like playing that place. Charleston Springs was always good. And I don't know if the greens are how I remember them. Howell Park is so much fun to play. And the greens were always great. I mean, playing the county tournament there in high school, unbelievable. The greens were always at like 11, perfect. That was always one to look forward to. So out of the 3, I'd probably say Charleston Springs was my favorite. That I would honestly love to go play.
Go ahead, ask your question.
I got several follow-up questions to that actually, Jack. But which of the Charlestons is your favorite, north or south?
If I'm remembering it right, the south.
The south is the one that has the more trees. The north is the lynxier one.
Then it's the south.
Okay.
But both of them, honestly.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. South is the harder of the 2.
Yeah. I like
That's not the question, though. The question is which one do you like more?
And I knew that you were purposely leaving that part out. I knew you were.
Who, me?
Yeah, you were. Ryan's a North guy.
I think Charleston North is my favorite course.
Out of anywhere.
I mean, at least out of the Monmouth County courses. Like I like, for me, it's like North, Hominy, South, Howell. Like that's my order of those courses. The North course, I just, for whatever reason, that like links style golf just appeases to like my eye for some reason. I like that so much. So that's why I like the North better.
Understandable. I mean, it's not a bad choice at all. I mean, both courses are good. It's hard to, go wrong with that.
Yeah, that seems to be a very popular thing that people mention to us when we bring up spots and where the average guy can get on. And I think a lot has to do not only with the 36 holes, but they also have a phenomenal practice facility. It's not like a regular like 100-yard driving range. Like you can go practice your game there.
You're hitting off grass at all times.
Yeah,
Yep.
so that there's no doubt. I think that facility in general is like, the top of the line in terms of like public facilities of not only the courses itself, but you got a phenomenal putting green, you got the grass driving range, you got a chipping short game area. Like you kind of have the whole thing in terms of a public facility that doesn't require, top dollar all the time.
The huge putting green, the practice green, is, that is a big component of why it's so great. You have the two courses, but you have so much room where it doesn't get too crowded. Where if you go to maybe like a Howe or somewhere like that, like your ball's hitting people's feet and that whole mess. But I mean, Charleston has some room. They got the big putting green that, like you were saying, the grass is huge. And then I feel like the pace of play has to be better. Having the 36 holes, like if one's busier than the other, you just go play the other and, grab a cart and you go play. It's like not too bad.
I've always found that like it gets more play than Hominy does, but it's not twice as much play. You know what I mean? And so they can divide it, and it's never as beat up. Whereas like you go play Hominy, like that 10th hole, everybody's hitting drives to the same spot. So there's like a 30-yard where like if you play it late in the year, it's a little chewed up. Again, I don't want to make it seem like it's a dog track. It's still beautiful, but like there's definitely like it's easier to upkeep Charleston because of those two for sure.
Right.
So Jack, we were just talking about like turning pro and that being the ultimate goal and being on the horizon, but there's so many people that have that goal. I'm still trying to get to the NBA. Like that's still my ultimate goal. But how does that? It's so close for you, playing at such a top level, of golf and collegiate golf, and it being right at your fingertips. What is that? Does it feel any different that it's not? It's definitely, and I would even say it hasn't been a dream for a while for you because you've been. It's become more not quite a full dream. Like 10 years old, you're dreaming, but like 18 years old, number one player in New Jersey, going to play in the ACC. It's more. You're in the ballpark, right? You might be in the bleachers, but you're definitely in the ballpark. So as you've gotten closer, does that feel different or weirder, or like what is that like as you're moving closer and checking off all these boxes of things? How is that felt, or what's that process been like?
So it still feels a little like a dream in some situations. Like it's hard to believe like you're not that far off of playing with like Rory McIlroy and all those guys. That still feels like a dream.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's like I got one maybe two steps left before, if everything goes well, where I could be out there on the Corn Ferry or who knows what the PGA Tour U and all that stuff, given tour cards eventually. I could be, out there within a couple of years, and it's like kind of seems more realistic, and you have to start planning for it right about now, just getting everything, in shape so that when everything happens, you're not thrown off. So it's a little bit of both, honestly.
Yeah. I can
Do
totally
you ever
imagine
get a chance to talk to a kid like Ryan McCormick? I know he was another kid that went through the short conference. He went to Mater Dei, was a phenomenal golfer. I know his dad was a phenomenal, pro in the state of New Jersey. He's a guy that I see a lot, mixing it up on the Corn Ferry Tour. I have no idea, but like, is there any connection or communication with a guy like that?
I've never spoken to Ryan, actually. I don't know if we may have met, a little while ago, but not that I know of. I haven't spoken to him, but lucky enough to have, a few other guys that I've been in the process with. And that's why coming to Texas Tech, we currently have the number 2 ranked amateur in the world. And he's a senior this year, and he's, he'll be on the PGA Tour next year, maybe. So, seeing guys like that. And I had a teammate at South Carolina who's, who just Monday qualified into the PGA Tour event this week. And I saw his process, and being around these guys is, incredible because they can teach so much, and you get to learn. I mean, playing practice rounds, you get to see exactly how they handle it, and they handle it like tour pros. And it's that's the difference is how they handle their business and stuff, especially with all the spotlight they get. Being able to kind of like step back from it, get their work in, but also, shake the hands and do all that stuff is pretty cool to watch. And it's like I'm just learning. It's just a whole learning process, which is really cool.
So when you say like their preparation for a tournament, right? And we talk about like, you're trying to get yourself ready for, if you're on the tour, you're prepping all week for Thursday. And, I know in college, like, I don't know if you guys are still Friday, Saturdays, or if it is a Saturday, Sunday event. Like when you see the preparation of these guys that are, at your level, and then they're looking to get to the next level, like what types of preparation or are they doing that differs for a guy like you or your teammate who's number 2 in the world? Like what are you guys doing differently than, Ryan or I, who are just going to the range and bagging balls 15 minutes before we play? Like what's preparation like?
There's definitely a purpose to it. Like nobody's out there to just hit balls or, maybe sometimes it's technique related where you'll sit on a range for a while and work on that type of stuff. But when it comes to, getting mentally prepared for a golf tournament, these guys have just, I mean, they have the handle on, what they have to do when it comes to, chipping around the greens, knowing what spots are good. And that's the key is where do you miss it? What's the best miss and how do I, avoid making a double or a bogey? So that's what I've seen a lot of is just, preparing for not just the best situation because anybody can, get on the green and drop a couple balls and, oh, this is where I want to putt from come, first, second, third round. But it's the guys like who are preparing for any type situation and then they're mentally ready, to go win a tournament is the difference.
Yeah.
So what are you working on right now, like in a little self-evaluation? Like what's the best part of your game and what's something that you're working on right now in this like preparation process and how are you working on it?
So my game over the last, I would say year or 2 years has kind of taken a whole different turn. It's like a complete 180. Like my short game wasn't that great. I was a really good ball striker, hit a lot of fairways, hit really good iron shots. But over the last year, it's been, chipping around the green short game. That's what holds your rounds together. If you can, if you hit it well and you can get it on the green, you make a lot of birdies. But if you're not playing well, you can, hold your own when you can chip it to 5 feet and make those putts. I would say is the biggest difference over the last year or two. And it's been the best part. So it's good to see that coming around.
Is that something that you always felt like you could get away with maybe back in high school where in New Jersey, we're not like I imagine a state like South Carolina, Texas, like those high school kids, like I'm sure they have more teams full of Jack Walls than they do of the fifth guy on a team that's not very good. What do you felt like you were able to get away with just pounding driver and then hitting it on the green and then just kind of taking your 2-putt if you didn't hit it close? And is that something like that you felt like needed to grow?
Yeah, I was definitely able to get away with it in high school for sure. New Jersey high school too. A lot of it's just a 1-round shootout pretty much. So a lot of the times you're just like, I'm just going at pins, see how many birdies you can make. And then when I got to college, that's when I started seeing you got to be smarter. You got to be, aiming at the wide side of the green. You got to be prepared to, where am I going to miss it? So that plays a huge part of it. And watching all these kids, over the last few years, they get that. And that was New Jersey. It was just shoot out, like go fire pins, par fives, try to make 8 birdies around. If you make a bogey or 2, it's fine.
But is that something like if you were to give advice to a high school golfer now, like based on what you've learned and how your game's improved, is that the number one thing? And if it's not, what would you what's the thing that you would give to a high school golfer who's a competitive golfer, not someone who's
Right.
not looking to play in college, someone who's looking to play at some level?
Yeah, definitely being smart with, don't be challenging pins that that you really can't get to. There's nothing wrong with pars. Pars are great. Pars go a very long way. And it also just helps, if you're not having a great day or if you're not feeling confident with your swing, you can still shoot reasonable numbers, which is a huge part of golf. And, it's really what are you shooting when your game's off? Because your game's never going to be on all the time. So it's how you manage your game when you're struggling and how to put up decent scores when you're not doing something great is a huge part of it. So I'd say that is probably one of the biggest things, I would say.
Yeah, and I would probably echo that because I think, you know, even for someone like you who's in a sense right still out of high school, 3, 4 years, but I think that's still the mindset now with kids is like, I'm just gonna bomb it and I'll figure it out. And when they don't have their A game in high school, they're not as fortunate, like or as good of a player as you were, where you can still fire 70, 71 and not hit it well, and still bomb the ball. These guys now, when they decide I'm going to bomb the ball, they're either shooting 72 or 82. Like the gap is so big for them. And
Right.
I can't emphasize that enough. Like if you have a short game and you can play inside of 50 yards, like you don't realize how many strokes you'll save just in something like that because you're not hitting, 14 fairways. So you're going to be chipping out once or twice and you're going to be banging a shot down there, finding ways to just still manage a score without throwing in that double or triple that we all know that not only kills your score, but like kills your mindset too. Because now you're already like, where am I making up birdies? Where am I going to get shots back? And now you're over aggressive. So there's no doubt I can't emphasize that enough with, the importance of like how good a short game goes in terms of being able to constantly play golf.
Yeah. That was something I saw my sophomore year. I was really struggling with my short game. Anything inside of like 70 yards, I was like almost terrified. I was like, I don't want it. And then it starts to bleed into every other part because you just put pressure on like, all right, I gotta hit the fairway and I gotta hit this thing to 10 feet. And if I don't, then good luck. Like I'm making 5 or 6. So that was really tough to play with because it just bleeds into every part. And then all of a sudden everything's off. So if you have a short game, honestly, it just frees up the rest of your game because you're like, if I hit a bad tee shot, if I just get it back in play, there's a good chance I make par. And if I don't, it's a bogey, but I can make up a bogey. It's really hard to make up doubles and triples. I know that from experience, and a lot of other people do too, I think.
That's like my going thing even when I've been playing with Ryan lately, I'm like, dude, I don't care what we do, like we can't make doubles. Like we can throw in a birdie or two to get those bogeys back, but I swear, once you make the double, it
Yeah,
is so like gut wrenching that it's like you feel like you've been knocked out, especially when you care so much.
right.
So I mean, all right, Rye, that's a theme. Do you hear that?
Yeah.
Jack said it himself. Screw the
I mean,
doubles.
this
Doubles
is
are
the
gone.
thing. I tell everybody, manage the course. Don't fire at pins that you shouldn't be firing at. I love the person who's like, who's a 12 index that's like, I'm going to try to bend this around the tree. Just hit it straight. You have nothing but fairway open. Don't try to like draw, like put a baby cut on it or anything. Just hit the straight ball. Don't go at the pin. Like learning how to play the course, I think, is something that as you get older, is something that is learned because you just have to do it over and over again. And you know what? I'm not going to go at that pin that's tucked in behind the bunker. I'm going to put it right at the fat part and then take my 2-putt. And now I got to put a good lag putt up there so I can tap in for par instead of going at it. And then now you're long, you're short, maybe you did something else to it. You're in a bunker somewhere as opposed to just hit it on the green. Like that's the Will Zalatoris thing from the Masters a few years ago, where he didn't aim at one pin. He took the center of the green every time. And that's like again, I think that's playing the course. And I don't think I think the older you get, the more you understand that. And going back to being in high school, I think high school kids don't necessarily know how to do that. And it's something that you learn obviously as you get older. And again, I say that I can't do it, but I say it.
Easier said than done.
For sure.
You're still trying to bend it around the tree. After you just told everybody don't bend it around the tree, you're trying to bend it around the tree.
Well, when you're constantly in the trees, you got to make up somewhere.
So, Jack, before we wrap this up, because obviously I don't want to, Ryan and I, like we tell every single person, you're like probably, probably like our third or fourth, fifth guest. I don't even know at this point, but we always feel like we can just talk and ramble forever. And we don't want to keep you here all night. But when it comes to Ryan always has a great ending question that we ask everybody. But before I let him ask you that, the career Grand Slam in high school that you won, okay? Correct me if I'm wrong, but that was not done in the same year. Or was it?
Mine?
Yes.
That was all my junior year.
Okay, so when I read the stat that you're the second golfer to ever do that, trivia for you, do you know who the first one was?
I know it was Corey.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
How'd you know that?
I forget. I think maybe Chris had said it, or somebody, maybe it was one of my brothers, but I definitely heard it before. I knew it because that was always the thing. That was the one stat where everybody talked about it. So everybody, Corey's name always was thrown around, and I mean, very impressive to do it. And that was one of my goals, was like, I want to add my name to that list. So yeah, I knew who it was, and
So it's funny you say that, because our first guest was Corey.
Right.
And we didn't know that anybody else had that.
Mm-hmm.
So Corey brought up and said, he's like, he goes, I'm pretty sure that no one else has done it. And we didn't know if anybody else did it till I did some research and found out that you did it. But I was like, God, was that all the same year or was it not? That he said, he's like, well, no one can ever break that record. At least, it's always going to be mine, and I'll share it with somebody if need be. But
Right.
I'll have to text Corey when I get done this and say, hey, listen, by the way, it's, you have to
Bad
share
news.
that record. Because I wasn't sure if that was you in the same year or you had checked those boxes but again, another unreal accomplishment.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was my junior year. I won all of those, and then I almost had back-to-back years of it.
Which one did you miss senior year?
I want to say it was Shore Conference.
You did, and I remember.
I lost to Brendan.
I was gonna say you lost to Brendan. Yep.
Right?
Yep.
It was the third hole
In the
you
playoff.
guys had in the playoff.
Yep. Yeah, from what I remember it was either the third or fourth. I remember on a par 3, maybe it was like 12th hole at Charleston. And I think I made like a 5 or 6 footer to keep it going. And then we got to the next one. I ended up hitting a really good chip and then missed like a 2 or 3 footer. And it was gut wrenching. But at the end of the day, CBA, we had won, and that was all that mattered. And, Brendan still probably will give me crap if I bring it up, which isn't great. I mean, I'm probably
I so remember that. All right. So there you go. I'll have to text Corey after this. But
Yeah.
Ryan, why don't you throw him,
Yeah.
which I think is a great ending question.
So Jack, 2 things. First, whenever you now say, people ask you like, oh, did you know that it was Corey? And you say, no, I didn't, but because I listened to the Drop podcast, they had Corey on and talk about it. So that's your new answer for that, just so you know.
All right, perfect. I'll memorize that one.
Jack, golfers are fairly quirky people. I think by nature, we have our odd superstitions, and tees in a pocket and a ball. It's got to have a mark at a certain spot. Those kind of things. What's your golf superstition or golf oddity or something that you have that all of us have, but we're all afraid to share it? Share it with us.
So I have a couple. And and it changes from event to event, but like if the first day of a tournament, if I play well, I have to continue to do the same thing the following days. So whatever, if I eat Chipotle after the first round or before the first round, like I'm eating Chipotle for the next. That's just always how it is. And then on course, I always mark it with like a quarter or any type of coin where there's a heads and a tails side. And I always mark the ball heads up facing towards the hole is something that I always do no matter what.
Interesting. That's a good one.
And the reason behind that is what?
It was a little bit my dad, because I used to just mark it, anyway. And for some reason, I feel like he brought up like Tiger and Steve Scott, I think was the guy's name, when Tiger won the US Am, and he had marked his ball and moved his coin. And Steve Scott reminded Tiger to move it back. And if he didn't, like the match would have been over or something like that. And Tiger won because of that, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
Or that
he did.
helped.
He did.
So my dad was like, he gave me the idea like, hey, you should always mark it one way, because if you mark it every single time like that and it's not like that, something like you have to move it back or so I bought into that and I started doing it. Now it's something that I have to do every time, and it has to be perfectly facing towards the hole. If it's crooked at all, I like lose my mind. So that's my one thing.
I
Okay.
like that. I like
Yeah.
that.
And if you ever move it, you always flip it to the tails, and that way when you look down, you always remember. So
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
maybe
that's
right.
for
Maybe we
sure.
need to try that. Maybe we'll
Yeah.
hold some more putts.
I mean, I'll take whatever I can get.
But Jack, listen, I appreciate you coming on. I really do. And, a college kid on a Saturday night in Lubbock, Texas, right?
oh yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, I appreciate you coming on, and this for us, it's this journey that we're on, and just trying to talk golf in the Garden State, and getting people like yourself on that, not only, do you have a phenomenal background, but you have a phenomenal future as well. And, when people talk, high school golf, especially in our area in the Shore Conference, your name is always one that constantly comes up as in terms of one of the best. So to have you on here this early for us is a huge, we're beyond appreciative of that. So I just want to make sure that you hear it directly from us, that like thank you, and obviously the best of the luck come the spring. And if you're ever around and you want to tee it up, we're good for like 85, 95. So.
Yeah. Certainly, Jack. Yeah, thank you so much.
Love what you guys are doing, and I mean nothing beats talking golf in the Garden State. That's something I'll always be thankful for is New Jersey golf. So I'm always down for a chat about it. But yeah, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
No problem, pal. Thank you.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
Sounds
Talk
good.
to you soon.